when I gave mock interviews in Delhi, the consistent feedback that I got was that you have a wonderful combination of rural culture as well as urban culture in your personality. And everyone was like, you should be proud of it. So this is my message to students who are coming from rural area, that don't think of rural background as your weakness, but rather think of it as your strength and play by your strength. India is changing, and the pace of urbanization is increasing. So in such a changing environment, we need officers who are connected to both sides of the culture. So if you have that trait in your personality, do not hide it, wear it proudly on your sleeve.
Hello friends, welcome to Chamomile Tea with Toppers, initiative of Unacademy. I am Akshay Kadam. I am going to host today's interview with Madhulika Devgoji. She has secured All India rank 190 in UPSC 2018 attempt. So let me introduce you, Madhulika.
Hello friends.
Okay, Madhulika, just introduce yourself to our viewers.
I am Madhulika Devgoji. I am from Ratnagiri district of Maharashtra. I have secured 190th rank this year, and this was my third attempt in UPSC. I am an engineer by profession. I have a work experience of 2 years, and then I switched my career to UPSC.
So Madhulika, as you said, you have worked in IT industry. So first question is, why UPSC?
Let's say I was curious about UPSC right from childhood, and it's mostly because of the parents or the friends that I used to hear that, okay, fine, there is this post and collector and you should go for it. But then as I grew up, I got to know a little bit more about it, and there was an incident when I was in my class 10th. I could witness firsthand how the collectorate of Ratnagiri dealt with that crisis. So there was a ship that was stranded in the Jaigarh port, and the collectorate dealt very effectively with it. And I had my 10th standard disaster management project on that topic. So I thought, okay, this is something different and I should really try for it. And then as I went into my junior college, and even I was trying for IIT, but then I couldn't get into it. But I got to know one thing, that analytical skill and command over language are my two plus points. So I was in search for a career which could suit these requirements. And then the civil services was a good option. But then I got into corporate. I was working for a couple of years, and I was working as a firmware engineer. That was a good career. I also had a patent, but somewhere I felt that something was lacking. I wanted to be a change agent, wanted to be a change maker, and I wanted to see that change come true in a as fast as possible, or in a very tangible manner. And then I thought, okay, so the career of a civil servant will be a good way to do that. I will be able to contribute to the society in a much more direct way. So that is why I decided to go for UPSC.
So friends, one thing I would like to share, that's a thing of what we call pride for me, that as a teacher as well as a husband, because Madhulika is my wife and also she is my first student, and so that's kind of a proud moment for me as a teacher as well as husband. So guys, first thing, as I know about Madhulika, that she is from Ratnagiri district, as she told, and it is a small district of Maharashtra, and in that she comes from Lanja, a small place, small town. So we'll see, we'll ask her that how was her journey, challenges she faced from being that small town area and belonging to that area, and how she managed to get into UP in the rank of 190 in UPSC toppers list. So Madhulika, have you particularly faced any challenges, because UPSC generally now in new pattern we see it is more of a those who are from convent medium, those who are from metro cities, they are cracking the exam. So do you particularly felt any issues or challenges being from Lanja, a small hometown?
Yes, these are the perceptions that the rural background and the schooling in the native language medium can be the hindrance for UPSC, but this is not true. I come from such a background, and it was not a hindrance for me. English could be a hindrance, but it is up to only a certain level. And even nowadays the things are changing. So when I was studying, so English was introduced to us in 5th standard, but nowadays it is right there from the 1st standard. So you just need to focus on the grammar part of English. That's what I would say. Even if you are writing the answers in the very lucid manner, you are using the easy words, you are not going with the very heavy sounding words, that's still okay. What you need with your language is the lucidity in communication. So it's okay if you are not very strong with vocabulary, but you should pay a little bit more attention to your grammar, because it creates a very wrong impression on examiner. So English problem could be taken care of. The second thing about it is about the rural background. The only disadvantage I could cite is that, so we were not aware of UPSC as a career option from a very early age, I would say, or there were not many foundation courses available as they are in the urban areas. But this is again, it is not a problem, because a foundation course which typically start right after your 10th class. So typically you are, if you are going with the foundation courses, you are preparing for like 5 years. Junior college plus graduation. But in my experience, a sincere study of a single year is enough to crack this exam. I can tell that with my own experience. So, and one more crucial thing that I would like to say, when I gave mock interviews in Delhi, the consistent feedback that I got was that you have a wonderful combination of rural culture as well as urban culture in your personality, and everyone was like, you should be proud of it. So this is my message to students who are coming from rural area, that don't think of rural background as your weakness, but rather think of it as your strength and play by your strength. India is changing, and the pace of urbanization is increasing. So in such a changing environment, we need officers who are connected to both sides of the culture. So if you have that trait in your personality, do not hide it, wear it proudly on your sleeve. That's what I would say.
यूपीएससी सिविल सर्विसेज एग्जाम्स को क्लियर करने के लिए सब्जेक्ट को अच्छी तरीके से समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है। मैं हर टॉपिक को सब टॉपिक्स में डिवाइड करके एग्जाम्पल्स के साथ बहुत ही आसानी से समझाती हूँ, ताकि आप बन सकें एग्जाम रेडी। आप मेरे कोर्सेज से सिर्फ एकेडमिक सब्जेक्ट्स ही नहीं, बल्कि जनरल स्टडीज़ के स्कोर भी इम्प्रूव कर पाएंगे। With teaching experience of 4 years, I have gained the knowledge to confidently say that I am an expert in political science and international relations. I am Ashna Sisodia और मैं UPSC के लिए Unacademy Plus पे लाइव पढ़ाती हूँ।
So, as you pointed out that foundational courses wasn't available if you are from small town areas. So, would you like to share that how you managed your studies when you are in that phase in 10th, 12th, when you are planning to prepare for UPSC? What areas you focused on and how it helped you in your preparation, or what areas you focused on?
When I was doing my graduate study, I was clear in my mind that somewhere down the line, I want to go for a career in civil services. But I did not start studying right away. So I focused only on my graduation studies, and after that I worked for 2 years, and during that period also I was completely focusing on my work. So the only thing that I did is I was consistently in touch with what were the important issues. So you are going to be an officer in the Indian administrative service, so you must be aware what are the major issues that your nation is facing, and you should also be aware like how they could be tackled. So and this requires a 360 degree kind of thinking. So there are multiple issues to an issue, and you should be aware of all of them so that you can come to a balanced conclusion. And this can happen only with the newspaper reading. So you need to keep in touch with the national happenings when you are doing your graduate studies. Apart from that, I also focused a little bit on being solution oriented rather than being problem oriented. Rather than complaining, I tried to cultivate this thinking habit in me that I should be coming up with more and more solutions. And I started preparing for UPSC only after quitting my job. So I prepared in 2015 and 16, and 2016 was my first attempt. Yes.
So your clear message is that you don't have to, many students we see who are appearing for UPSC, that they start after 12 they take admission to BA or BS Agri related courses and they start preparing. So though you had a plan for UPSC, you did not opt for that way. So any
yes.
particular reason for going for engineering?
Yes, it was a very conscious decision again to go for engineering, to go for a professional degree. Even I had advisors from my family telling me to go for a degree in arts or commerce, but I evaluated the other aspects of UPSC as well, because if we consider the number of students who are appearing in this exam, it is around 1 million. 11 lakh people, they fill the form for UPSC. So it is a lot of competition there, and it is also going to create a psychological pressure on you. In case you are not able to clear this exam, then what? So I did not want to have no answer to this question. So that is why I wanted to have a professional degree, and I wanted to have a plan B ready. That is why I went for the industrial experience after completion of graduation. So the one takeaway from my journey would be that if you plan carefully for your UPSC, then it is definitely you can crack this. So planning is very much important. And the advantage of having a plan B ready is that you can be relatively stress-free when you are preparing. So you don't have to, you do have a safety cushion to fall back on, and that is very much important. It is a psychological boost for you, and it will reflect directly in your preparation.
So now, Madhulika, the next question is that you said as a plan B, you did a job in the industry. Okay, you worked with Eaton Technologies for 2 years. You had a patent in that company. So how hard it was to switch that corporate culture, a very well-paid salary-based culture where you had opportunity to go overseas and all that, and come to a completely uncertain areas of uncertain exam like UPSC, where there is a 100% success is no one can confidently say I will get it. So how you manage that psychological thing?
First of all, I think everyone must be honest with themselves. They must be honest with their reasons behind choosing UPSC as the career. So if it is some fickle reason like the fame or the powers that come with it, or the money that comes with it, then you cannot sustain for long in this preparation period. So you need to be honest with yourself. So I was very honest that I want to go into UPSC because I wanted to be a change agent. So it was not very difficult for me to quit the job. So when I started working, so I had a couple of like-minded friends who also wanted to explore the option of UPSC. But then later on, it was only me who stuck to that decision, and who were, I would not say brave enough, but who was determined enough to quit a stable job and a stable life. But again, a planned decision, a well-thought decision beforehand, so it was not difficult. But when I was working, I had another issue to deal with, that my parents, they had told me that they will not be able to support financially support me during this preparation stage. So again, working was a conscious decision. So when I had enough savings to pay for the coaching class and to support myself for a couple of years in Pune, then I quit.
Okay, so Madhulika, then you decided to quit from a private industry and came to in this journey, and in between you got married. And so it's very, few examples are there of a married candidate who managed to clear the UPSC, and that happened with you. So have you particularly faced any challenge post-marriage about preparation, or do you want to give some tips to those ladies who are married and still they are struggling to crack UPSC?
In my personal experience, I did not, again, I was lucky on that front. I did not face the dual responsibility of handling the family and handling my preparation, because it was entirely my mother-in-law who took care of all the domestic responsibilities. So this is a good sign, I will say, that it is not only our generation, but the older generation is also changing their perspective. They are becoming more and more of a support system, and I think that trend should be replicated everywhere.
So Madhulika, it was your third attempt, and in third attempt you managed to get your All India rank 190. But when you couldn't make it through first attempt, second attempt, what changes you made that finally made it sure that you will through all three stages and will finally get selected and will be the rank holder?
So 2016 was my first attempt, and I missed the cutoff of prelims by 2 marks. So that year's papers was heavily biased in favor of current affairs, and I was under the rather wrong impression that UPSC favors conceptual knowledge over factual knowledge. So I had ignored the data part a little bit. That was a big mistake. That I rectified next time. I made the meticulous notes of the objective bits in current affairs, and I meticulously revised them. And the second mistake that I had done in my first attempt was again that I was not able to give a proper time for revision. So that revision, that I rectified again in second attempt. The third mistake I did, that I solved only around 85 questions. So when I was scoring 114 and I was hoping that cutoff will be around 110, but that year the cutoff expected it surpassed all the expectations. So rather than being in this doubtful zone, 110, 114, I would say that you need to be in the safe zone. You need to be around or above 120, so that you can focus completely on your mains preparation. And how you can achieve that 120 marks? So it is only by solving at least 90 to 95 questions.
Okay, so in both attempts you managed to solve 95, 90
yes.
and you got a good score.
Yes, and next year that strategy really paid off. In 2018, I scored 127, and this year I also wrote the prelims again, and this year I am scoring 130 marks. Yes, and again I'll come to my second attempt. I was not able to clear the mains by 13 marks, and I again did the same thing. I analyzed, I took the mark sheet, I see what went wrong, and I could see that optional was the culprit. I was scoring good marks, 116, 120 in GS, but in optional I scored an abysmal 248, which was far below what is expected in optional. So I focused on optional. My history is my optional. I focused more on map points because I was not able to identify all of them correctly in my first attempt. So this year I am scoring 320 in optional.
Okay, so particularly how you had a confidence that you will able to solve 93, 94 questions and will get such a high marks? Any particular strategy you employed for that part for the prelims?
Yes, it was like I solved as many questions as I could, and it was not only like 20 MCQs per day, 30 MCQs per day. I also focused on solving the full length test. So you should solve at least 50 to 60 full length tests, so that you have the idea that how many questions you are guessing correctly, in how many questions you are doubtful, and which are the questions where you can take the risk. So like that you are doubtful about two options and you are not sure about them, but there you can apply some understanding of your previous knowledge. You can apply the elimination technique and you can find out the right answer. But this can be developed only through the practice. So around I solved so many MCQs that it became a regular thing for me to get around 60 to 65 questions correct, and next 20 questions there was a little bit of guesswork, and then for next 10 questions I risked a little bit, but the risk paid off.
You managed to get a good scores.
Yes.
So guys, as Madhulika said that she managed to get very good scores in prelim, 127, 130 in all these attempts, and so the only way she said you could score that much is solving more and more MCQs or those papers. And so I would like to add here that guys, on Unacademy platform you have tremendous data available of MCQ based courses, subject specific as well as comprehensive courses, and you can definitely take advantage of that. Okay, so because only in this place you will able to come across the thousands and tens and thousands of MCQs, and if you practice as many of them, definitely you will be able to score such a higher marks in prelims the way Madhulika secured. So now Madhulika, you said that in second attempt you couldn't score a good score in history, but I would say even 252 marks are a very good score in history, but not that much that you will be in as a rank holder. But in your next attempt you managed to score more than 320 in your history optional. So how come you managed to make such a difference, 70 more marks in one attempt and in next attempt of the optional? What strategy you used to score so high in that too in a history optional, which generally people don't score that much?
I realized that I had committed 3 mistakes in my first attempt at mains. So first of all, I was not able to answer all the questions. So I had left a 10 marker in my paper 2. And even though it was a 10 marker, it made a big difference. So you must complete all the, you must attempt all the questions. Second mistake that I had done is maps was not my strong point. And I think out of out of 20 map points, I had only 10 or 12 map points correct. So many of the map points were also left unattempted. So next time I started focusing more on the maps. So this year I got around 16 to 17 map points correct. So that made a big difference, because 16 map points, so that is around 32 to 40 marks or more. So that is the major chunk of the 70 marks. It came from that map points question. The third mistake that I had done is, it is important for paper 1 of history optional in ancient and medieval to mention the sources. So if you are making some statement about something, so let's say you are making a statement about the Mauryan administration. So here it is necessary to mention that, okay, we are getting this information from Megasthenes' account. Same can be said about the other eras also. So I was not mentioning the sources. So my answers were more naive than academic. So next time I made a separate notebook, and then I wrote down each era of the history, and then what are the sources, which author and which book can I mention. I made a separate logbook for that. I also made a separate logbook to log the opinions of eminent historians. So suppose there is a question on the moderates. So what is the contribution of moderates to Indian history? Then if the question is like that, then I just used to quote a quote by Justice M.G. Ranade.
So you
I
give
did
more
that.
of
Yes.
backup of authoritative historians
Yes.
and there to
Yes.
justify your answers, and
Yes.
that help you get good marks.
Yes. So it is more about the value addition as well.
Okay.
Yes.
And now, Madhulika, if we check the mark list of all the toppers, then generally most of them have scored well in their optionals, then ethics paper and essay. And they have scored average around 100 plus minus marks on GS1, GS2, GS3. Okay, and the same is with you also. You managed to get very good score in optional, essay, even in ethics, but GS1 to 3, same the average scores. So how you divided your preparation, whether students should focus more on essay, ethics, optional, what should be the strategy for the mains?
Yes, so students should focus more on these 3 subjects: essay, ethics and optional. When you're preparing exclusively for mains, so you can divide your day equally between current affairs or GS and optional. And for ethics, I would say that ethics is actually the tough nut to crack, because the source material is not very good. So there is a plethora of sources, and you have to finally combine your own notes. But I was fortunate enough that I referred to the notes made by none other than my husband here, an educator on Unacademy, Akshay Kadam. I referred to his notes, and he is also launching a course on applied understanding of ethics. So guys, do enroll for that. I did not refer to any other reference material. I only referred to his notes. What is important again in ethics is you can study less, but you have to write more. So whatever concepts you understand, you must show them in your answers. So your answers become an administrator-like rather than being naive. So if there is a case study about some particular project that people are opposing, the local people are opposing that project. So instead of saying that you will try to change the attitude of the people, you can come up with something, a certain substantial solution, a real life solution, that you will offer more price for their land, or you can make the payments in installments. So such kind of administrative oriented answers you can write in ethics and fetch more marks.
So you were saying you were solution oriented in your ethics paper more,
Yes.
and that helped you get good marks.
Yes.
Okay, and now you said about writing is more important. So generally we see that it's 9 papers you have to write, and in mains, and all are your prelim is only objective, mains is completely subjective. So how much, what strategy you used, how much time you devoted for your writing the answers, and how much for the preparation of your answers? What was your strategy for that?
Yes. So first I will talk about the writing of the essays. So I followed the strategy of 2 essays per 10 days. So yes, and that one essay needs to be factual or content oriented. The other essay needs to be the idea oriented, or the essay based on some statement. So 2 essays per 10 days, that was a strategy. And then I used to write one question daily of optional. But when I say one question, you must have seen the format that 150 marks a question, it contains 220 markers and one 10 marker question. So I used to attempt that question in 20 to 25 minutes. So I used to write like that, and again I prepared 10 map points every day for the history optional. For GS, what I did is, so it is not possible to write a 3 hours paper every day. So 20 questions in 180 minutes, we can narrow it down to 4 questions in 32 to 35 minutes. So instead of going for 3 hours, you can go for the half an hour answer writing strategy. So you can have the answers ready beforehand during the day, and then you can have a particular, you can take time out of your schedule. So like 5 to 5:30, I'm only going to do this answer writing. You can have the answers.
So you exclusively
ready.
focused on answer writing every
Yes.
day, and you wrote lot of essays, like 2 essays you are saying every 10 days.
Yes.
Okay, so you focused more on writing essays and writing the GS question
Yes.
papers. So Madhulika, your score in history was good, as we saw 321. So what are the notes you particularly referred for that?
So for ancient India, I referred to the your IGNOU BA material. So many points of the syllabus are taken directly from that BA study material of IGNOU, and this is true also for your world history as well as your medieval history. So you have the notes with you, and you have the syllabus with you, and then you can find out which unit refers to which point of the syllabus. So you can make your own list and you can study accordingly. So IGNOU BA material, that is source for both ancient, medieval as well as a few points in world history. Then particularly for ancient India, so you need to cover all the NCERTs for your map points. You can also go through the selfstudyhistory.com for the map question, and you can also refer to the history and heritage through maps by Ensemble publication. Apart from that, for my first reading of ancient India, I went through the R.S. Sharma's old NCERT book, and to prepare for art and culture, not the objective bits, but to develop an understanding of art and culture, I also went through the book by Professor Upinder Singh. Yes, but that book should be read very selectively. Then I'll come to medieval India. I have already mentioned the BA material, and the staple material is again Professor Satish Chandra's volume 1, concerned about the Sultanate period, and this volume 2, which talks about the Mughal period. And then a few chapters can be read from Jayal Mehta book. No need to read the complete book, just the first chapter where there is a detailed information on the sources to study medieval history. So you can go through that. Coming to modern India, the book by B.L. Grover must be your staple book. The book has an excellent combination of concepts as well as facts. Then you can also go through 2 or 3 chapters of Plasi to Partition, which is a book by Shekhar Bandyopadhyay. So you can focus on the chapter about women's movement, the working class movement in the freedom struggle. Then for the first reading, and to develop the writing skill, how to put forward an argument and how to substantiate it. To develop that writing skill, you can go through the book by Bipin Chandra, India's Struggle for Independence. But apart from that, not much value can be derived in the form of content. For post-independence India, the selective reading of India since independence of Professor Bipin Chandra. And for world history, you can refer to either Norman Lowe, or you can also refer to Jain and Mathur. And one more book is there, that is an old NCERT by Arjun Dev, that is study of story of civilization.
Okay, so
and yes, apart from that, if you want, you can also refer to Balian sir's notes. They are excellently compiled notes.
So now, Madhulika, in this preparation of UPSC, you managed to score very well in all these parts. So how much is the influence of group discussion? How much it is helpful or important? Whether the students should be engaging in that, or they should be strictly studying on their own, that without any, being a part of group. So what was your experience?
My experience is that group discussion definitely helps, and it also reduces your burden. So suppose you are preparing for international relations, so you can divide the work between yourself. So some person will be making the notes for, say, Indo-Japan relations, Indo-US relations, or the other person can manage the Indo-European relations or like that. In the main stage, the group discussion helps in the sense that you can see the other angles of the same issue from your friends' answers, and you can also come across the techniques that they are using. So suppose someone is making boxes to write down the important addition material. So suppose there's some recommendations by committee, so the format which is followed in the vision IS, so some students are following the same format in their answers as well. Some people focus more on the flow charts, some people focus on the diagrams. So you can have such inputs from your friends, but the discussion is more important at the prelims stage because it helps you remember the facts. But mind you that it must not be a big group, it should be 2 to 3 people.
Now, I would like to share, guys, that Madhulika scored 183 in her interview stage, and which is a very good score, much above average score. 170 is considered on an average score, and she has managed 183. So we'll see what she prepared and how she managed to get that score. So Madhulika, what you prepared when you got your mains, cleared mains, you got interview call. So from that day onwards, only you must have been started for the interview. So what was the all steps that you took to reach the interview panel, to face the interview panel?
Okay, 4 things I did. First of all, there is the current affairs part, and the standard current affairs preparation will suffice for that to answer those kind of questions. The second point is about being 100% thorough with your detailed application form. So each and every word that you mention in your detailed application form, try to think about that word in as many perspectives as possible. Try to form as many questions as possible. So for example, I come from Cummins College of Engineering and my home district is Ratnagiri district. So here I thought ki Cummins College, so it is a women's college, so question can be on the feminist movement. Then Cummins College founder is Bharat Ratna D.K. Karve, who also comes from Ratnagiri. So I prepared on that. So who are the other social reformers from Ratnagiri district? So I tried to think in that manner. So that is a complete study of every word that you mention in your DAF and prepare your own question bank. Then the third thing that I did is I went back to my native place, because a lot of questions can be asked about the issues in your native district or your native city. In my case, Ratnagiri district, it was in news for 2 reasons. There's Nana refinery project was coming up, the Jaitapur nuclear plant is coming up, and there is a lot of opposition from the locals. So what happens is, you get to know when you meet the people who are involved in such kind of protests, or if you meet the NGOs who are working there, and if you can meet the administrative officers who are working with them, and even the people's representative. I met the elected representatives of Nagar Panchayat of my hometown.
So you focused on getting first-hand knowledge.
Yes, first-hand knowledge and real life solutions. Yes. So I did that. And the last thing I did is you have to practice in front of mirror for half an hour every day. So it will just help you bring about changes in your gestures, your eye contact, positive body language. Such things can be taken care of.
Okay, and how many mocks you gave? What you will say that how many mocks the students should face and how many you prepared for?
At least 5 mocks are necessary. I appeared for 7 to 8 mocks, and it did me no harm in any way. After every mock, I had something to improve upon. Because I gave so many mocks, so I had the question bank that I had with me related to my DAFs. Obviously, it went on increasing. Then I could observe the changes in myself. So when I gave my first DAF, so when I didn't first mock, when I didn't know answer to any question, my voice level used to go down. But that thing improved a lot in my 8th mock.
You practiced more.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. And as Madhulika, we see there is a lot of data available about prelims preparation or kind of question asked, about mains preparation question asked. But about interview, we generally don't know what questions were asked to the students because very few toppers share that. So would you like to share any such a important question that was asked by the interview panel or you impressed them with your answer, anything like that if had happened in your interview?
Okay. So yes, we do not have a reference book or material like that, but there is a very commendable initiative taken by the senior officers from Maharashtra who are led by Mahesh Bhagwat sir, who is an IPS in Telangana. So that group was our go-to point when we were preparing for our interviews. So we got to know the questions that were being asked, and so we could prepare from that. It was helpful. So the question that was asked to me that I would like to share is because I have the history optional background, I was asked about the nature of the 1857 revolt, a pretty standard question, but I mentioned that India was not a nation at that time. So the next question I was asked was about, is India a nation now? So I think that was the answer which I gave to that question. So that must have created a very positive image of me in the interview panel.
And would you like to add a few more questions that have been asked? Because interview is a kind of mystery. Only those who face the interview panel know how it is, all that. And for all other aspirants, it's just a mystery. So would you like to add a few more questions that was asked to you, just to get help students to understand?
Yes. So I had taken a lot of efforts on my DAF, and I had prepared the expected questions, like the questions on Kathak, on Ratnagiri district, etc. But when I appeared for the interview, so not a single question was there which could have been directly pinpointed to my DAF. I mean, it could have been asked to any of the students. So it was not DAF specific. So this is what I want to highlight, ki there might be a few surprises. I was asked this, that you are an engineering student, so tell me what is genetic engineering. And then it was like a kind of googly for me because I was in some other mindset. Then I was asked a question about the latest developments in the Harappan civilization. Again, a history optional based question. Then I was asked an opinion on the implementation or the demands for withdrawal of SPA from Northeast region. So such opinion, so it was a good mix of opinion based questions and the factual questions.
And before that, I would like you to share something if you want to give some motivational message to our viewers.
So yes, there is a poem by eminent poet Nida Fazli, which I would like to share here. A few excerpts from that poem, that सफ़र में धूप तो होगी, जो चल सको तो चलो. सफ़र में धूप तो होगी, जो चल सको तो चलो. सभी है भीड़ में, तुम भी निकल सको तो चलो. हर किसी सफ़र को है महफूज रास्तों की तलाश. हिफाजत की रिवायत बदल सको तो चलो. So I think this sums of UPSC pretty much, because a ship is the safest in the harbor, but it's not what it is made for. So friends, don't be afraid to stretch your limits, don't be afraid to take up new challenges, and always think of the bigger picture. So if you're going to reap the benefits for next 30 years, it is okay to invest the 3 years of your life right now. So keep yourself motivated and keep going, because when the going gets tough, the tough gets going.
Okay, so guys, before concluding our session, I would like to share good news that Madhulika, UPSC topper 190 rank, is going to teach on Unacademy platform live from 2nd July. So we will ask her that what she is going to teach and how it will benefit the students of our Unacademy platform. So Madhulika, what you are going to plan, you are going to teach next 2 months on Unacademy platform?
Yes. So initially I have planned a few lectures on the art of answer writing for history optional. So I will be taking up the questions and how to decode the language of the questions and what points are expected in that question. So I will be taking courses on that. I'll also be conducting a course on the GS material. So I will be talking about some important issues, agricultural issues, political issues, social issues. So material which will be beneficial for GS2 and GS3.
So Madhulika, here we have a ritual that if topper comes to our interview, he tags one of his friend, another UPSC topper. So would you like to tag someone that we can invite for an interview to help our viewers?
So I would like to tag my good friend and All India rank 304 in 2017 CSE, Jagdish Jagta.
So Jagdish, our team will get in touch with you, so you will be on this platform to share your experiences, and hope to see you soon. So Madhulika, thank you for coming down and sharing your valuable experiences, and we have a small gift for you.
Okay, thank you. This is a rather generous gift. Thank you.
So good luck for your future, and I hope you will prove to be a very good administrator and good bureaucrat as per your personality and rank. So good luck for your journey.
Thank you. Glad to be here on the Unacademy platform.